Hello, everybody. Just doing a video real quick. I got to thinking. Did you hear today? Uh, Looks like Donald Trump is surging in the polls, and it's looking like he might pull this thing off. But boy, I tell you, the Clinton machine is doing everything they can. And this looks like to steal the election. All the old Democratic tricks, and all we can do is pray and make sure we vote and have faith in God and pray, and we'll see where it goes. I got to thinking today, I wonder how Obama is feeling right now. Now I know y'all not a fans of Obama, and I'm very upset with what he did as president. He failed us. I really think he failed the black community, especially. And some of you who are not African American may not understand this. So I'm going to try to explain it to you. Okay. 98 in the last election, last two elections actually, which I really didn't think President Obama could win a second term after how terrible things were in the first term. I'm gonna be honest with you, but people still had faith in him, and it wasn't just black people that had faith in him. It was a lot of America had faith in him, and everybody had hope that he would bring about the change he was talking about. And our idea of change and his idea of change was two different things. The black church got behind him. He betrayed, in my view, Mr. Obama, you betrayed the church, the black church in particular, black American Christians, and the black people as a whole. You betrayed us because, we put a lot of hope in you. In the last election, you won the election with 98% of the black vote. Now, I want y'all to stick with me with this now because I'm going to show you something. Okay? President Obama had 98% of the black vote. And, it really didn't have so much to do with the fact that he was being black, even though it did have something to do with it. There was a certain amount of pride. I remember, see, I'm old enough. I'm 61 years old. So I remember back in the day, back in the 60s and the 50s. And I remember being at an Air Force base. I remember when you could count on one hand, the number of black officers in the Air Force, in the military. I remember as a boy, that was one of the things I dreamed about doing, was flying airplanes, and all I thought about. And I'll tell y'all something about me. I grew up poor. I grew up in a single family home. Didn't find out who my father was until I was 19 years old. And for those of you who grew up in a two-parent household with both parents, you may not be able to relate to this, but it is very difficult on a young man growing up without a father. It can be very difficult. And I thought about Bill Clinton, and I thought about his illegitimate son, allegedly illegitimate son. And I wonder, do you think that Danny Williams is Bill Clinton's son? I'll tell you, when you look at the two pictures, it sure looked like Bill. I just wish Bill Clinton would just go ahead and do a blood test and deal with that. According to what the young man is saying, for years, he sent money, $700 a month and $100 bills to his mother, and was sending in presents every Christmas. He must have had some kind of connection. The boy looked like Bill. He's denying it, and he's refusing to take a DNA test. They say there was a DNA test a long time ago, but it was all a farce to try to say he wasn't his son. Bill, I'm gonna tell you something. You're gonna die one day. We all gonna die, and we're gonna have to stand before God and give an account for our lives. Now, you lived your life, and you were promiscuous. I mean, that's common knowledge. You were out there messing around, and you went down there. You got jungle fever. You went down in the ghetto, and you found you a little black girl, and had a little love triangle going on, and you had a little love triangle going on, and she got pregnant. And it's looking like it's your son. The woman done took 2 lie detector tests and have passed the lie detector test. Bill, beyond what the public thinks, you need to be concerned now at this stage in your life. You should have been concerned about this all along, but especially now as you're getting older. What's God think about you denying your son? Now, I know Hillary, Clinton wears the pants in your house, but you need to stand up, man up. And if that's your son, you need to do right by him, man. Just, help him have some closure in his life. Talk to him. He's not interested in, this goes beyond the campaign, Bill. And I want to speak to you spiritually. I'm a man of God, and you need to get right and make that right. Okay? Whatever you got to do to make that right, you need to make it right. Sometimes we don't get a second chance to correct our wrongs, and you can clear your conscience by making that right. And it doesn't have to be public, but you need to get with that young man, do the DNA test, and make it right. Anyway, comment on that. What y'all think about that? But on the side of that, let's get back on subject, because I want to talk about how I believe President Obama has missed an opportunity. There are three things you cannot get back in life. One is the spin arrow. The spin arrow could be the bullet. You point a gun and you pull a trigger, you better make sure when you fire that gun, you mean for that bullet to go in the direction it's going, because you can't call that bullet back once that bullet leaves that gun. So 3 things that you cannot return, the Bible talks about: the spin arrow, okay? The spoken word, the words that you let come out of your mouth. And the third thing is the missed opportunity. Speaking of, your words are powerful. Think about, I heard the story of a man who put buckets in feathers in a bucket. He had said something bad about somebody, and the man said, "Please forgive me, forgive me." He said, "I'll forgive you on one condition." He said, "I want you to get those 2 buckets. I got a chicken coop in the back, fill them up with feathers. Then I want you to take the buckets and put them on your porch and leave them there overnight." So the man went and got the bucket and filled it up with feathers and put it on the porch, and he left it overnight. When he got up in the morning, the man told him, "When you get up in the morning, bring me back the feathers." So the man, he went to bed, put the feathers on the bucket on the porch like the man told him to do. Got up in the morning, went back down and saw the bucket, and all the feathers were gone. He came back to the man, "Look, I came to get the feathers, but they were all gone." And he said, "That's the same thing about your words. What you said, you can't take back. When you speak against somebody or you say something that you shouldn't say, and your words are out there, they're like feathers. The wind catches them and carries them." So 3 things we've already covered: 2, the spin arrow, the bullet, the spoken word, your words, and then the opportunity. Sometimes God give us an opportunity. President Obama, you had an opportunity to unite this country, to go down in history as one of the greatest presidents that we could ever had. But you chose to betray the very people that you belong to. You are a black man, and you betrayed your own people, and you betrayed all the people who had faith in you. You betrayed everybody that voted for you. You embarrassed the black church, because the black church. Now the black church. I'm gonna tell you, they ain't having this homosexual stuff. The ones that really are into the Bible, they know homosexuality is sin. And I know we got some folks on here who say, "Oh, that ain't right." The Bible says it's sin, calls it sodomy, and God is against that. God's against sodomy. Now, you can say what you want to say, but President Obama did more for the gay community than he did for the black community. And black people are suffering. I think about the black people in Chicago dying in the streets, over 4,000 black people dying in the streets. And I don't recall, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I don't recall President Obama ever going to Chicago and saying anything to anybody or anything. So I thought about, how he must feel. I mean, the first 4 years, man, I'm going to be honest with you. When he became president, I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime. A black American become president of the United States? I didn't think it could happen. And I certainly didn't think I would live to see that happen in my lifetime. And so there was a certain amount of pride that I had personally when I saw President Obama become president of the United States. And it's with great sadness and embarrassment and disappointment and a broken heart that I'm saying, President Obama, you let us down. And now we need Donald Trump to straighten up your mess. And I want to tell black folks something. Trump has really impressed me. He has impressed me on so many levels. If you think he's a racist, you're not listening to what he's saying. Listen to the statements he made today in Ohio at a rally and what he wants to do for black America. And not just black America, but all Americans, but especially he wants to finally attack the problem. He said to black America, he says, "I'm going to work for you like no other president has ever worked for you before." And I believe him because when you look at his organization and who he's hired, he's got every ethnic group represented in his business. He hires people regardless of creed, color, race, religion. He hires people from every background. And guess what? He hires the people who are the best people. I'm real impressed with Pence too, because as vice president, I think he picked a good guy. And that guy, they both in good shape. They got more energy, man, to be old. I'd like to know what kind of vitamins they take, but they are off the chain. But I want to say this. President Obama, you let us down. You know, we got 40% unemployment. And 40%, actually, more than 40%. We got 40% of black people living in poverty today. And we got the most dangerous cities in America, the cities that are controlled by the Democratic Party. It's a mess. But our people have been the most loyal to this country. Even with slavery and discrimination, we fought in every war, and all the racism. We used to have to couldn't drink out of the same fountains. We still stayed loyal to this country. And I think that Donald Trump he's recognizing that, and I respect him for that. And I think he's going to be a better president for all of us. But folks, let's get on the Trump train. And this is just part one of President Obama, why you failed. I'm going to do this in 2 parts. Please subscribe to my channel and comment. Tell me what you think.